Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking on another hardcore shiny Nuzlocke. The first one was really well received, so I thought I'd try a different game this time. Today we'll be taking on a hardcore shiny Nuzlocke of Pokémon Emerald. For those of you who don't know, a hardcore Nuzlocke is similar to a regular Nuzlocke in that you can only catch the first Pokémon on each route, and if they faint they're considered dead and can no longer be used. The hardcore part comes from some added rules. No items can be used in battle, you must play in set mode, and you can't be a higher level than the next gym leader's strongest Pokémon. As with last time, I'll be setting my level cap at the Elite Four as the same as Glacier's strongest Pokémon, as she's right in the middle of the Elite Four in champion fights. As with last time, my shiny rate has been increased to 1 in 1000 for this challenge. I just wanted to make this clear right off the bat, and the reasoning for this is the same as before. I have a YouTube schedule to keep up, as well as a full-time job to balance it with, so I kinda have to do this if I want to get the video out on time. If this weren't the case, I would try full odds, but at this time I just cannot commit to that. 1 in 1000 is still relatively rare, roughly around the same as the odds with the shiny charm in the later generations. Again, sorry if you don't agree with this choice, but it's the only way I'll be getting these videos out, so I hope you'll understand. I got a few comments last time saying that I should use the duplicates clause, meaning if I find a Pokemon I've already caught, then I can catch another one instead. Also, a lot of people wanted me to nickname my Pokemon as well, which is normally done in Nuzlockes, so this time I'll be doing both of these. Before we get started, shout out goes to these people for finding the dabbing Delibird last time. As always, he's hiding away in this video too, so look out for him and comment down below with the timestamp for a chance to be featured next time. Alright, let's see if last time was beginner's luck. Let's do this. I start the game picking the female character, calling her Rika. Anime fans assemble, comment down below if you get the reference. As you'd expect, the first shiny I can hunt for is my starter. Last time I chose the grass type starter, and there is no way I'm using a Mudkip. So I decided to hunt for Torchic this time. It actually doesn't take very long, much to my surprise, about 10 minutes. It's also a female, which I thought was insanely rare, but as it turns out, for some reason every single one of my shinies this run was also a female. I'm assuming that this has something to do with the way that Emerald generates shinies. I nickname it Piri because, you know, cheeky Nando's, and now we've got quite a few shinies to hunt. The first of which is on Route 101, and it's a lovely golden Poochyena. I nickname it Retriever and continue north, where I find another Poochyena. As I said though, I'm using duplicates clause, so I run away from it, which just felt wrong, and keep looking. Eventually I find a Zigzagoon, and name it Stardust. We then travel west, where I find myself a shiny Wurmple and name it Buttermoth, because I just don't know if I'm getting a Dustox or a Beautifly yet. Now you see why I don't normally nickname my Pokemon. I evolve it into a Cascoon, meaning that we'll be getting a Dustox, and just to the left of Petalburg, I find myself a Tailo, naming it Cello. Yep, this is the level we're talking. At this point, I'm starting to get a little bit worried as we don't have much to beat rock types, and the level cap is 15, so we can't even evolve our Torchic to get Double Kick before the first gym. Petalburg Woods is pretty much our last chance at a grass type or something useful, but unfortunately it ends up being a Silcoon. Great. I don't know if you can see my disappointment on screen, but I give it a very mature nickname. We catch just one more Pokemon before fighting the first gym, that being an Incada. I give it the name Higurashi, and then evolve Silcoon into Beautifly before facing the first gym. My plan here is to use Uglyfly's Absorb, as it is 4 times super effective against the Geodude, but the first one hangs on with what must be 1 HP, and takes us out from full health. Not the best start to this run, I will be honest. I send in Retriever, and after she heals up, a couple of bites take it out, and the second Geodude also goes down to 2 bites, but it does land a Rock Tomb on us. Last up is Nosepass, and I don't really have much for this. I send in Stardust with the goal of lowering its accuracy, but we do get hit by a block, meaning we are unable to switch out. I lower its accuracy all the way down, but our headbutts are doing minimal damage, and unfortunately Stardust faints shortly after. I send in Retriever once again, and even with her healing with an Oranberry and a potion, we're able to bring it all the way down to red health. Retriever's HP is low as well though, and I don't want to risk getting taken out, so I switch in Piri as she thankfully misses twice, meaning that 2 Embers can finish it off, and we win the first badge. We've already lost 2 of our team members though. I deposit Stardust and Uglyfly in the PC, and before heading to Dewford I evolve Piri into a Combusken and catch myself a shiny Whismur in Rust Turf Tunnel, calling it Baby Metal. One of my all-time favourite bands, I'm not even ashamed. I also evolved Retriever into a Mightyena, and in Granite Cave find myself a shiny Abra, calling it Abra, you know, after the Kadabra in our Crystal No-Catch Nuzlocke. We then take on the second gym leader Brawly, but this was a really easy win thanks to Buttermoth. Machop is just able to survive 2 confusions, but even with bulk up, he's hardly doing any damage. After he heals up, we can take him out with a few more, and next up is Meditite. This thing's only attacking move is Focus Punch, which fails if he's hit that turn, so all we need to do is keep attacking and we're in no danger. So eventually it faints, and last up is Makahita, who again can barely do any damage to us, so a few confusions knock it out, and we win the second badge. Glad there were no casualties this time. We travel towards Slayport and catch ourselves some more shinies. First of which is a shiny Minun, which I name Energizer. Not sure if it'll be any good, but we'll see. We then take on Brendan, who leads with the Lombre, so Cello is able to easily deal with it thanks to 2 wing attacks, and next up is Slugma. I totally forgot this thing had Rock Throw, but it doesn't matter as we still survive, and once again 2 wing attacks take it down. His final Pokemon is Marsh Stomp, so I switch in Retriever, but we're only able to hit 1 bite before we get hit by a critical Mud Shot. This means we're gonna need to switch out. I switch in Buttermoth, who's bulky enough to tank multiple Mud Shots, and some Water Guns too, as we have Moonlight to keep us healthy. A bunch of confusions eventually take it down, winning us the fight. I decided to try and train at Pigarashi, as we can get 2 Pokemon for the price of 1 thanks to Shedinja. Unfortunately though, on its very first battle, we faint. That didn't last long. Cello does evolve into Swellow though, and we even catch another shiny, this time an Oddish. Just so you know, I completely forgot to nickname this thing, and no, I don't ever change it. Sorry. I then evolve Baby Metal into a Loudred, and then take on the 3rd gym leader Watson. Voltorb is up first, so I lead with Buttermoth and start using Confusion. He hits us with 2 sparks, and I fear he's going to explode, so I opt for Protect. This turned out to be a clutch play though, as he does in fact go for self-destruct, and we don't get hit, so we dodged a bullet there. More like a grenade, but whatever. Electrike is next, but there's a bit of back and forth with me healing with Moonlight and him using a Super Potion, but we do eventually come out on top, and Magneton is next. I switch in Piri on a Thunder Wave, which wasn't an ideal play, but this is my best Pokemon to deal with this. We take a Shockwave quite comfortably though, and Ember is going to be a 2-shot, and we even get lucky with him missing a Sonic Boom, allowing us to take it out with another one, and now we're down to his final Pokemon Manectric. I switch in Retriever on a Howl, which is cancelled out by my Intimidate, and then I can go for Bite as he paralyzes us. Our second bite is a crit, which activates his Citrus Berry, but we're on low health now, so I need to switch out. I send in Baby Metal, who takes a quick attack, and go for Uproar as I was sure it would be enough, but after tanking a Shockwave, it just falls short. This not only locks us into this move, but he also heals up with a Super Potion, and takes us out the next turn as we can't switch out. This was definitely a bad play on my part. I switch in Piri, hoping to finish it off with a Blaze boosted Ember, but even that is not quite enough, as we barely survive another Shockwave. We're going to be taken out by a quick attack, so I need to switch again. So I send in Energizer, who takes 2 quick attacks, as he ends up being faster than us. Our own quick attack is not even enough to KO even from this range, so I either need to switch out again or let Energizer faint. I decide to switch, this time into Cello, as I know he's not going to use Shockwave, and not only does Cello easily survive a quick attack, but she's also faster, so our own quick attack hits first, and Manectric goes down. That was definitely the hardest fight so far. I'm surprised there was only 1 casualty there. We place Baby Metal in the PC, and continue our journey. North of Morville, I catch myself a shiny Numel named Etna, and a shiny Coughing in the Fiery Path, which I name Methane, in tribute to Chogoconroy's shiny Coughing in his Crystal Let's Play. We also catch a shiny Spinder named Cindy before reaching Falliber Town, and then I make my way towards Maxie, but first we catch even more shinies. A Lombre, which is called Lily, and in Meteor Falls I find myself a shiny Zubat. I nickname it Whelmed 2, after the Golbat from our last shiny Nuzlocke. Hopefully this one's a little bit more useful. We then finally make our way up to Maxie. Mightyena's up first, but faints to a couple of double kicks from Piri after lowering our accuracy, and Camerupt is next. I switch out as I don't want to miss, and send in Cello, who takes a tackle. We're able to bring it down to low health with a few wing attacks before he heals up, so I decide to switch back into Piri, as I can't risk a crit. As it turns out, the Ember was a crit, so that was a lucky escape. He heals up again though, but we're able to take it down eventually with a few more double kicks, and last up is Zubat. I get a little bit cocky here and stay in, but Ember isn't enough, and we get hit with a super effective wing attack. Piri just hangs on though when we finish the fight death-free, but that was kinda close. Now we can face the 4th gym leader, Flannery. This fight starts off incredibly well, as we're able to bring Numel down to low health as she heals it up. I take the opportunity to set up a couple of bulk ups, and from there we can one-shot Numel, Slugma and even Camerupt thanks to a critical hit with a single double kick. Her final Pokemon is Torkoal, but even with the buffs, our double kick is doing only a small amount as she sets up the Sunny Day. I hit one more double kick, but she retaliates with an overheat, getting a critical hit to take us out, but to be honest I don't even think the crit mattered. She even resets her stat drops thanks to the White Herb, so I send in Retriever to finish it off with a bite, but she fully heals it. I go for Swagger to buy me some time, and this does actually work, but then I try to lower its accuracy with Sand Attack, completely forgetting about its ability. Thankfully she hits herself again though, so I start spamming Bite, and I thought we'd just scrape through, but just as we bring it down to red health, she's able to hit one more overheat, taking out Retriever as well. That's 2 of our best Pokemon down in one fight. I send in Energizer though, and if she'd have healed here, I would have been in serious trouble. Thankfully she doesn't though, and we can finish it off with a Spark for the win. Okay, no, that was the worst fight so far. We say goodbye to Piri and Retriever, and I decide to replace them with Etna and Methane. Before heading to the 5th gym, I catch myself a shiny Trapinch in the desert area. I name it Fly Going. Look, this is why I don't nickname Pokemon, I come up with this shit. Now we take on our own father Norman, but he didn't go easy on us. Methane deals with his first Pokemon Spinder without much issue, as it only ever tries to use Teeter Dance for some reason, so we take it out with a few Sludges, and next up is Vigoroth. His slashes aren't doing too much damage, and we even get the poison with Sludge, but sadly 2 Sludges aren't quite enough to KO even with the poison damage, and he ends up healing. I also completely forgot that this thing has Facade, which is powered up from him being poisoned, and Methane faints. That was short-lived. I send in Cello in the hopes of evading his moves with Double Team, but he still hits another Facade for big damage. From here though, a Wing Attack is enough to finish it off, and next up is Linoon. I go for Endeavour as I was pretty confident I could live a hit, but apparently not as we get taken out by a Slash. Probably a bad play there, but there we go. Energizer can take a Slash though and finish it off with a Spark, and now we're down to his final and definitely most intimidating Pokemon, Slacking. I do have a plan though, which is to switch in Buttermoth and abuse his ability Truant. He can only move every other turn, so on the turn he can attack I use Protect, and on the turns that he's loafing around I can either heal up or attack with Psybeam. The problem with this strategy though, is that Psybeam hardly does any damage, and even with a lucky Confusion, we're just not dealing enough. Even when we do bring it down to low health, he heals it up again, and we're running out of power points. I decide to switch in Etna and go for the Overheat, which does do a huge chunk of damage as he goes for Yawn. I reckon that one more Overheat without my special attack drop could be enough, so I send in Buttermoth once again, and go for one more Psybeam just in case. I then switch in Etna once again and go for Overheat, but his Facade is just too strong, and a third member goes down in a single battle. This isn't looking too good. Energizer is pretty much my best bet at this point, so I send it in and go for Spark, which doesn't take it out even with a critical hit, but we do have the priority quick attack, which finally finishes off the Slacking, and we win the 5th badge. That was a bit of a bloodbath though. I say goodbye to our fallen comrades, and add some new members to the team, those being Flygoing and Cindy. We have Surf now too, so I can catch myself some more shinies, starting with a shiny Electrike that I named Bolt, and evolve into a Manectric. This should definitely be very useful for the upcoming flying gym. We then face off against Brendan once again, but thanks to the rain, Lily is able to outspeed and destroy everything with Surf and Absorb. Nice to have an easy fight for once. I then find myself another shiny to the right of Fortree, that being a Marill that I named Lemon, in reference to my shiny only run of Renegade Platinum. Check that video out if you haven't already. Now we take on Winona. I was expecting this fight to be easy as we have 2 electric types on the team, but you'll see. Swablu is first and is no issue whatsoever as it gets taken out by a single Spark from Energizer thanks to a crit, but next up is Altaria. I've played Emerald enough to know that this thing has Earthquake, so I need to switch. I send in Cindy, who's just about able to survive 2 Earthquakes, and put it to sleep with a Hypnosis. I can then hit and confuse it with a Dizzy Punch, and then I choose to switch in Bolt to deal some more damage, as she wakes up and hits herself. I then go for Spark the next turn, and while we do get lucky and paralyze it, she deals some huge damage with an Earthquake. I switch in Buttermoth as she hits herself again, and land a weak Psybeam, but she snaps out of confusion, and starts setting up with Dragon Dance. This is not good. Not only that, but she also fully heals up, so we could be in some serious trouble here. I land 2 more Psybeams, but we get taken out by a single Aerial Ace, and that's our longest surviving member gone. This was just the start though. Cindy can hit another Dizzy Punch, but goes down to a Dragon Breath, and after hitting a Spark, even our new Pokemon Bolt goes down to another Earthquake. Lily can hit a Fake Out and a Surf, but even that's not enough, as we faint to another Aerial Ace. This is a massacre. Finally though, Energizer can switch in and finish it with a Spark. I am so glad that that's out the way, but she still has 3 Pokemon left. Skarmory is next and hits a Sand Attack, meaning we miss our second Spark, as she hits a weak Steel Wing. We don't miss the second time though when it goes down, and next up is Tropius. I switch in Flygoing to reset my accuracy as she hits a weak Aerial Ace, but then starts charging a Solar Beam as I hit a Sand Attack. This is pretty much it for Flygoing though, as I'm gonna need Energizer if I want to win this fight, so I let it get taken out by a Solar Beam, and victory now rests on the shoulders of one Electric Rodent. Right off the bat we get a crit as she sets up a Sunny Day, but this activates her ability Chlorophyll, meaning she outspeeds us the next turn. She could have gone for a no charge Solar Beam but chooses Aerial Ace instead, which we can take for days. Another Spark makes her heal up again though, so we're not out of the woods just yet. We take another Aerial Ace and this time Spark does paralyze it, so now we just need to get lucky. Another brings it down to KO range, but she has Synthesis. Eventually though we do bring it down low enough to where we can finally KO with a few more Sparks, and her final Pokemon is a Pelipper, definitely the easiest Pokemon to beat on her team. A single Spark seals its fate, and we win the 6th badge, but at quite the cost. Energizer is now the sole remaining team member alive, so I fill the team with the remaining Pokemon in the PC, evolve them and continue on our way. I also catch a few more Pokemon, a shiny Wobbuffet in the Safari Zone named Jessie, a Shuppet named Stitch, and a Wingull named Modest, because it evolves into a Pelican. We also catch a Tentacool, which I, of course, name Anime. We evolve Stitch and face off against Maxie once again, but compared to Winona, this was a very nice and easy fight. Energizer deals with Mightyena and a few Sparks, and next up is Camerupt, so I switch into Lemon, who takes a takedown with ease, and in return, one hit KOs with a Surf. His final Pokemon is Crobat, so I just switch back into Energizer, and go for a Spark as we barely survive 2 wing attacks, but we do get the paralysis. I switch in Abra and KO with a Psychic from there, and we get an easy win. While here I decide to find a new shiny, which ends up being a Geodude. Not bad. We can't get a Golem as we can't trade, but it's still quite defensive and... oh. Never mind. I make a few more team changes before taking on the 7th gym. I evolve Gloom into a Volplume and catch myself a shiny Spheal in Shoal Cave, and nickname it Spheal Time. Honestly, if anyone gets this reference, I will be amazed. I then evolve Whelmed into a Crobat, and Spheal Time into a Celio, and then take on Tantalizer. They lead with Claydol and Xatu as I send in Whelmed and Spheal Time. Straight away we get a crit wing attack on the Xatu for great damage as they set up a Calm Mind and hit an Earthquake. The only Pokemon that's not immune though is Spheal Time, who takes decent damage, and then we can finish off the Xatu with an Aurora Beam. Next out is Lunatone as I confuse it with a Confuse Ray, as Claydol hits another Earthquake. I then hit back with a Surf for decent damage on both Pokemon, and then I decide to switch in Lemon, as I confuse the Claydol who hits itself, as Lunatone lands a Psychic on Lemon. A Bite and Surf combo take out the Claydol, and activates Lunatone's Berry, as their final Pokemon Solrock comes out. Once again I confuse it with a Confuse Ray as I switch in Energizer, but Lunatone is able to put us to sleep with a Hypnosis, so I send in Stitch and go for a Thunder on the Solrock, as Lunatone hits a Psychic on Stitch for about half. One more Thunder is not quite enough to finish off the Solrock though, as Switch gets brought down to the tiniest sliver of health. That was a little bit reckless of me. Thankfully though, Solrock targets Energizer for small damage, as Stitch finishes off the Lunatone with a Shadow Ball. Solrock does fully heal up, but a combination of Spark and Shadow Ball are all we need to take it out, and we win the 7th badge without a single casualty. We then evolve Spheal Time into a Walrein and take on Archie. There's really nothing much to say about this fight though. Energizer deals with Mightyena and Crobat, and I switch in Volplume to easily tank 2 slashes, and KO the Sharpedo with a Giga Drain for an easy win. Why can't all fights be that easy? In the Cave of Origin, I catch myself a shiny Sableye named Gizmo, and then take on the 8th and final gym. This was actually quite a straightforward battle though. Between Energizer and Vileplume, we're able to take down his entire team, and yes, that is a shiny Crawdon. Even his Kingdra goes down without any issues thanks to some good paralysis luck, so we win. Funny how the final gym was probably the easiest overall. We can now take on Victory Road, where we find our final shiny Pokemon of the run, a Hariyama that I named Trunchbull. Before we can take on the Elite Four though, we need to beat Wally. This battle really didn't pose much of a threat though. Spheal Deals with his first two Pokemon Altari and Roselia with Aurora Beam, and next it was Magneton, so I really need to switch out. I send in Vileplume, who resists electric, and start hitting Giga Drains, which aren't really doing too much. We get brought down to low health and paralysed, so I decide to switch into Stitch on a Tri-Attack, which we're immune to. From there I can KO with a Shadow Ball, and next out is Delcatty. I switch in Energizer and easily take a couple of feint attacks, and in return a mixture of Spark and Thunder are more than enough. Wally's final Pokemon is Gardevoir, who goes for Future Sight as I switch in Stitch, but he outspeeds us the next turn. He just goes for Calm Mind though, so we hit a super effective Shadow Ball, which is physical in this generation, and easily KO for the win. Now we make our way through Victory Road and arrive at the Pokemon League. I'm really happy with the team overall, but I choose to make one change. I replace Lemon, who at this point only has HM moves, and replace it with our new Hariyama. I do some training, and here's the team we'll be bringing into the Elite Four. I'm genuinely happy with how this team has turned out, you know. Spheal is a great addition to the team, we have a good diverse bunch of typings, so I don't really have many complaints. Of course though, I'm most proud of Energizer being the sole survivor of the Winona Massacre, and making it all the way to the Elite Four. Will this team be enough to claim victory though? Well, let's find out. First up is Dark-type user Sydney. Mightyena is up first, but goes down to a Spark and Thunder from Energizer after hitting us with a Sand Attack, and next is Shiftry. I switch in Whelmed as he goes for Double Team, but this doesn't matter, as I have Aerial Ace which can never miss. It does just fall short of a KO though as he goes for Swagger, but this raises our attack, so even with him fully healing up, another Aerial Ace is an easy one-shot. Absol is next, so I stay in to take advantage of our raised attack, and thankfully we don't hit ourselves again, and land another Aerial Ace. It just falls short though as he sets up a Swords Dance, which is dangerous. His Citrus Berry takes him out of healing range though when we don't hit ourselves, and one more Aerial Ace easily takes it out. Cacturne also goes down to a single Aerial Ace, and his final Pokemon is Crawdon. I switch in Vileplume as he sets up a Swords Dance, but we're faster, and a single Petal Dance KOs from full health, and we win the first match of the Elite Four. So far so good. Next up is Phoebe, who I was a little concerned about. Dusclops is first, so I leave a Stitch, and a single Shadow Ball brings it down to a sliver of health, as she uses Confuse Ray and then fully heals up. We don't hit ourselves in Confusion though, and we get a better damage roll this time, KOing from full HP. One of our own Banettes is next, and I can't risk hitting myself, so I switch in Energizer who gets burned by a Will-O-Wisp. She only ever goes for Grudge from here on out though, so 3 Sparks can take it out without her even healing up. Her second Dusclops is next, and I make a good prediction here and switch in Whelmed, as she goes for Earthquake. I then confuse it, but she's still able to hit a Rock Slide, but Dusclops isn't exactly known for its offense, but it's still a little bit risky, so I send Stitch back in, who takes an Ice Beam. I can then hit back with a Shadow Ball, which is barely enough to KO once again, and she hits back with her own Shadow Ball, but we live with just 4 HP remaining. That was probably a bad idea, but we just about got away with it. She eats a Citrus Berry, so one more Shadow Ball is an easy KO, and her second Banette just goes down to a single Shadow Ball as well. We're now down to her final Pokemon Sableye, and I need to switch here, so I choose to send in Spheal, who's pretty bulky. A Surf isn't enough to knock it out from full, she heals up after setting up a double team, but another Surf brings it down to low health, and I try and finish it off with a Waterfall, but we actually end up missing. Her moves really aren't doing much damage to us though, and we don't miss the next Waterfall, so it goes down and we beat Phoebe. Next up is Glacier, who starts off with a Celio. We get the early lead though thanks to one-shotting it with Energizer's Thunder, and next out is a Glalie. I switch in Trunchbull, who takes an Ice Beam decently well, and go for the Brick Break. This was actually good timing as she chooses to set up a Light Screen, so not only do we break it, but we also get an easy KO. Her second Celio also feints to a single Brick Break, and after setting up a Hail, so does her second Glalie. This is going pretty well so far. Her final Pokemon is Walrein though, which is definitely her strongest. She outspeeds us and lands a Surf, but we're able to hang on and hit another Brick Break, to bring it well below 50%, even after she eats a Citrus Berry. The Hail almost takes us out though, so I need to switch. I switch in Energizer, who takes a body slam with ease, and from there a single spark finishes the battle. Surprisingly, Glacier ended up being the easiest Elite Four member. Last up in the Elite Four is the Dragon Trainer Drake. This battle starts off well as we easily one-shot his first Pokemon Shelgon, and even take out the mighty Salamence after being hit by a super effective Rock Slide. Altaria is also a one-hit KO, and next out is Kingdra. I decide to see how much Field Time's Ice Beam can do, but he sets up a Dragon Dance which could cause me some issues, and Ice Beam isn't even going to be a 2-hit KO as we exchange Body Slams the next turn. I fear I'm in range of a Body Slam, so I send in Stitch who's immune to it, and then go for the Shadow Ball as we easily take a Surf. Thankfully Kingdra goes down, and now we just have one more Pokemon left to go, and it's Flygon. I switch him Whelmed in on an Earthquake and proceed to confuse it, and he hits himself as well. This means we can get some decent damage in with a couple of Aerial Aces before he fully heals up, and I'm able to bring it back down to half health, but we end up getting burned by a Flamethrower, so I need to switch again. I choose to send in Trunchbull, who takes small damage from a Crunch, and even takes an Earthquake like a champ, before hitting a Brick Break to win the final match of the Elite Four. We've made it to the champion without losing any of our team, but can we make it a clean sweep? Wallace leads with a Wailord as I start with Energizer, and we pretty much get the best start imaginable, as Spark deals some great damage, and paralyzes it, and he decides to set up a Rain Dance. This makes our Thunder 100% accurate, so it goes down easily, and next up is Gyarados. Why would you send that in against an electric type? Needless to say, it faints to one Thunder, and next up is Whiscash, the Pokemon he should have sent out originally. I switch in Vileplume, who barely survives an Earthquake thanks to him getting a critical hit, but we're faster and a Giga Drain is 4 times super effective, and brings it down to red health. We also heal up a decent chunk of our HP, but he went for Surf next turn anyway, so we're in no danger. He does heal up with a full restore, but another Giga Drain followed by a Sludge Bomb take it down, and next up is Milotic. This thing is no joke. He hits a super effective Ice Beam for over half, as our Giga Drain does, what, a quarter? I decide to switch in Sphere Time, who can take hits all day, and start dealing some chip damage. He actually just decides to switch out though and send in Ludicolo. Whelmed is pretty much the perfect counter to this thing, as he starts using Double Team, but we have the 100% accurate super effective Aerial Ace. We do get hit by a Leech Seed, but 2 hits take it out, and Milotic comes back out again. I switch Field Time back in and go for a couple of Body Slams, but we're on low health now. However, we have brought it just low enough to where I think Energizer can finish it off, so I switch it in to take a Surf, and outspeed and hit a Thunder to take it out. Now we just have one more Pokemon to deal with, Tentacruel. No one on my team really wants to take a Surf at this point, so I decide instead to try for a Paralysis with Spark. It does decent damage, but no Paralysis, and we get taken out by a Sludge Bomb. Energizer, you were so close to making it all the way to the end. Her death was not in vain though, as I can switch in Trunchbull, who can tank a Hydro Pump like a beast, and hit back with an Earthquake which takes it out, finally winning us the fight. We beat Wallace and beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald, using only shiny Pokemon. Well, it may not have been as smooth sailing as the Fire Red Nuzlocke, but we got there in the end. Funnily enough, the Pokemon League section in this game was probably the easiest part of the whole game. I had much more trouble with most of the gym leaders, especially you, Winona, we will never forget about that. Despite that, I had a great time with this run. I'm really starting to get into Nuzlockes in general, so I feel like I'll definitely be making more of these in the future. Taking a look back at our team members for this run, we lost quite a few. Energizer was the longest surviving member, lasting from when we caught it just after obtaining the second badge, all the way to the very last Pokemon in the champion fight. I never expected a Minun of all things to carry the team so hard. Whelmed was actually good this time around, and Stitch and Sphere Time were both fantastic members as well. I also have to give credit to Trunchbull for coming in late, but still proving itself useful, even dealing the final blow to win the run. Vileplume was pretty decent as well. Overall, my team was pretty good. This wasn't my finest showing, but at least we got there in the end. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then please give this video a like, and subscribe if you're new. I'm trying to hit 40,000 subs by the end of the year, which seems like a ridiculous goal, but I still want to try, so I would really appreciate it if you hit that button for me if you liked what you saw today. I've got more videos in the works that you won't want to miss, so I hope to see you all soon. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.